Andrei Sannikov is the former deputy foreign minister of Belarus. He was arrested by the Lukashenko regime after he ran for president and demonstrated against election results, and he was imprisoned for, Andrei, I believe, 16 months.
Yeah, correct.
Can you give me some idea of what Roman Protasevich is facing right now? Is he in grave danger?
He is in really great danger. Yesterday I was asked the same question, and I kind of said that they will probably release the video of him under duress, and he will say some things. But I personally was relieved to see him alive, because, you know, the KGB is known for making people disappear for several days and several weeks, and especially after we had the tragic death of our good activist and patriot Witold Ashurek in the Shklov penal colony 3-4 days ago, and the reason was reported the heart disease, and but his wife said he never had any problems with his heart. So after that, it was clear before, but that they are capable of killing people, and they are killing people. And when Roman disappeared, I personally worried that what will be happening to him. And we saw him alive yesterday, but it doesn't mean that he is safe and not in danger today.
He looked under duress. He looked like he may have been roughed up or beaten already. I mean, he certainly, he looked like that was a hostage video.
Absolutely. And, you know, it is kind of strange that they're releasing such videos. It's not the first one. There were many others to show that people are really under duress, and nobody pays attention to what they're saying. They could say that they are, I don't know, spies or terrorists or whatever. Nobody pays attention. Everybody is looking how they look and what is going on with them. So, and yesterday was not the exception, because you know, we saw him on the screen, but we saw also the signs of beatings on his forehead, for example. And although he did behave quite, let's say, in control of himself, but what he was saying was, and how he was saying especially.
You've been interrogated. You've been imprisoned by this regime.
Absolutely. Yeah. And his girlfriend is now there in different places. He is in the prison number 1 in Minsk, which is Interior Ministry prison. I was there. I know what it is. It's the oldest prison in Belarus, and some very famous people were there, including, I believe, Pilsudski at some point. And when he was transferred from prison to prison. And she is in the so-called center for the offenders in famous facility on Kristina Street.
What will they be doing to him right now? The KGB is carrying out the interrogation. The interrogation for what? The answers are obvious. Yes, he's a journalist. Yes, he wrote opposition views on the regime and believing that the election was stolen in August. What is the point of an interrogation? What do they get?
They are trying to get him, he is accused of terrorism, and he was on the wanted list for terrorism, which is stupid, which is clear that it is fabricated. And he is now accused. He was smart enough, even under duress, not to say that he is confessing of anything. He said, I'm cooperating with the interrogators on the issues of the mass disorders which I was taking part in.
Lukashenko's
taking part in preparation. So he didn't admit anything serious, and everybody knows that he is a journalist, and I think journalistic community is very vocal at this moment to try demanding his release and warning against any kind of torture and abuse against him. So what they will do, they will try to get some confessions from him, because they failed big time on several occasions. For example, they arrested in Moscow again. You see, with the help of FSB, they arrested most unlikely people and accused them and charged them with plotting against Lukashenko. Most unlikely, because it was a laughing stock, not a laughing stock that they were arrested, but laughing stock of the scenario that Lukashenko's playwrights wrote for him. That was really funny to imagine that these people were plotting against Lukashenko and his family.
Okay, I mean, the confession, you know, I'm a journalist. Yes, we wrote against the regime. Yes, we helped organize some demonstrations. Yes, when Lukashenko started to shut down all of the media in the country, you know, this young man went on Telegram and other encrypted digital media services to get the word out, to publish videos of people being beaten. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Where does that leave Lukashenko? Is that worth hijacking a plane for?
For in his kind of logic, yes. He wants to show that he is still in control and he's a strong man and he is reaching out far beyond Belarus. But actually, he is really making his situation even worse, and not only his situation, but his people who are still loyal to him or who are still saying that they are loyal to him. Because with one gesture, with one operation, very clumsy operation, he ruined the whole industry in Belarus. He ruined the airline in Belarus, the monopolist for air traffic in Belarus. So. And among other things, among the fact that he proven himself to be a terrorist, to organize state-sponsored terrorism, piracy, kidnapping, and all other things, endangering people in Europe. So I think that in his logic, he thinks that this is a good scenario, but he keeps going further and further down, and he is now in the abyss that he will never climb out again, never. So now we have to proceed from this, because some people still think that Lukashenko could be reborn as Phoenix. No, he's done, he's finished. He's controlling a small group of people. Yes, presumably they're thugs, they are really people without any moral, without any human feelings, but they're a very small group.
So this is really my question to you, because now Europe is trying to navigate this with its own problems in the European Union. Countries like, you know, Viktor Orban's Hungary, who kind of want to walk a line between the East and the West and still stay close to Russia. And so they have their own difficulties. But when you talk about using carrot and a stick, are we way past the carrot stage? Because Lukashenko, in terms of red lines with European values, has tortured people. People have died in custody. I mean, he has traumatized the entire country. So if you move away from any kind of carrot back, where does that leave you with Lukashenko? He is becoming more and more isolated. Some people say a little crazy. Will these sanctions, will the no-fly zone accomplish anything?
Well, you mentioned Orban, and it's quite indicative that yesterday they discussed the sanctions, the measures connected with this forced landing of Ryanair flight. And I didn't hear any objection from Hungary, although it used to be the country that opposed sanctions against any other country. And I didn't hear any objections from any other big countries or small countries that were usually on the list of those who doubted the effectiveness of sanctions. Europe never used carrot and sticks. I would say that they used carrots that were eaten by Lukashenko, who used sticks against us. That's how it went, because there were never any meaningful sanctions. Those visa restrictions, travel restrictions were not sanctions. Today, I think that they have finally realized, and I was very happy to hear the words in the statement of senators and congressmen of the United States that Lukashenko is the danger to the international security. It is not only the rogue dictator that is hurting us in Belarus, because before it was taken like, but it's a humanitarian problem. You see, just a couple of political prisoners and a couple of people in papers closed. Doesn't matter. We still have to think about our business with not only with Belarus, but with Russia through Belarus, even about our smuggling our goods to Russia after Russia embargoed food products from Europe. But now I hear the different language, and I hope that it will be an understanding how to proceed. I think that the pressure should be put on, first of all, release of political prisoners, because it is morally absolutely justified to take any measures to save people's lives, especially when we have more than 10 cases of reported deaths of protesters, and now death in prison, and we don't know how many deaths we are talking about during the protests and in prison. So it is absolutely justified from legal, moral points of view to put as much pressure as possible until all the people who are there behind bars for political reasons are released.
Put as much pressure as possible, but in what form? What do you want to see happen now?
Economic sanctions, trade sanctions, stop SWIFT system working on the territory of Belarus, and start pushing for stronger measures for the private companies, like, Yara, Norwegian company. They're playing very cynical game. They making some statements that they do care about the human rights and the situation of workers in the largest production of potash in Belarus, Belaruskali, and third in the world, I believe. And but at the same time, they are not doing anything to help the people, and they reconcluded the contract when the head of strike committee was arrested, and he was arrested for many days now. He is in prison, and all others being fired. So private companies should join the efforts, and then the economy is collapsing, and Lukashenko is now not, as I said, not in control of the economy. He cannot do anything. He couldn't do anything for the economy for 27 years almost, because he relied mostly on the, on the subsidies from Russia, both in terms of money and in terms of cheap oil and gas on the territory, delivered to the territory of Belarus, which that resolved.
But a lot of people, a lot of people would say, this is my last question to you, aren't we just helping Putin? We are pushing Lukashenko and Belarus into the waiting arms of President Putin.
Lukashenko is helping Putin. It's none other than Lukashenko made Belarus absolutely dependable on Russia, which really undermines our sovereignty, our independence. Believe me, I don't want even to think in these terms, because I want to think in terms of normal relations between Russia and Belarus, even if Putin and Lukashenko are against it. I can tell that we can deal with Putin no matter what kind of, with Russia and with Putin after Lukashenko, and we will be more reliable, because we simply cannot go anywhere. We cannot move to some warm sea to re-establish Belarus there, but we are bound to live with Russia as our neighbor, with European Union as our neighbor, with Ukraine as our neighbor, and we have to take care of all these neighborhood problems. So Lukashenko is creating problems for us, for Russia, and for Europe and for Ukraine. We can solve the problems. I mean, by we, I can tell you that the Belarusian people, because enemy number one for Lukashenko is not Protasevich, is none of the opposition, it's Belarusian people. That's the enemy number one, and he has to realize it and step down.
Andrei Sannikov, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, thank you.